Good evening, everybody.
Kavod Harav, how are you?
Thank God.
Oh, Hashem.
Good evening, Rabbi.
Me too. Okay, so I think we're doing Bet Yosef here. It says before Kitzad, how does he keep his body clean? Right? We said that make sure he goes to the bathroom if he has to. And it says the Bet Yosef, Memra de Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachmani. This comes from this rabbi, Perek Misha Meto, in the Brachot Chav Gimel Amud Aleph. Then it goes on regarding what it says. But if he prayed like that and he didn't use a bathroom, his prayers are an abomination. That's what we said. It's a bright over there. He says, therefore he has to pray again. That's what the Rambam says. He has to pray again. So he says it's obvious. What does that mean? That once we know that his prayer is an abomination, so therefore, obviously, he didn't get credit for that prayer. Goes on. That's only if he he's not able to wait. For 72 minutes. So where is this? And also in the same place, Alabraita the Tanya, regarding the Braita, which teaches that if he prayed, his prayer is an abomination. Rav Zavid. Regarding that, says Rav Zavid, that's only if he can't wait. But if he's allowed, if he's able to wait, then it's allowed. How much? That means 72 minutes he can wait. Zohi Girsat Arif. That's where the Rif has the text. The Katab Rabbeinu Yonah, but Rabbeinu says, Veno Nachon, it says not correct. That even if he can wait for that time, but since he needs to use a bathroom, it's not allowed, right? Lechatchila, Beidach Braita, like we say in the other Braita, that if he needs to use a bathroom, he shouldn't pray. Even though it implies, even though he can wait. So he says, this is the text in the proper texts. In the more correct versions. But it says, if he's able to wait, as we said, then his prayer is a prayer. B'diavad, filatot. V'chein katav Rambam also writes like that. V'chein iskim Arosh, and the Rosh also. וזהו שכתב רבנו, that's what רבנו wrote the tour, אבל לכתחילה לא יתפלל, לכתחילה, you shouldn't pray, עד שיבדוק עצמו תחילה יפה, until he first checks himself well, וכיוון דכל הנה לבטה מסכימים לכך, הכי נקטינן. So he says, since all these rabbis seem to agree on that, that's how we paskin. So what does that mean? We don't paskin like the Rif, who says that if you can wait for 72 minutes, he can even pray lechatchila. The Rashba says, so he says, even though he has the same text as the Rif, katav im kodem she'atchil, but he writes anyway, if before he starts to pray, he felt himself, right, that what, he has to use the bathroom, so he really shouldn't pray until he does right, goes to the bathroom. And if he did pray, he didn't fulfill his obligation, because his prayer is an abomination. That's only if he can't wait for 72 minutes, as we said. That's only if he needs to use the bathroom before he started the prayers. But if he didn't need to use the bathroom at all before he started, and everything was good until then, and then all of a sudden, in the middle of the prayer, now he starts to get a desire to use the bathroom. He shouldn't stop there, since he already started. So he says, if at the time of Kriyat Shema and its blessings, he had also in the middle, right, he start to feel that he needs a bathroom, and he's able to wait, then he should read in the normal way. But if he wants to first go and urinate, whatever, and he can do so. Right, so he's telling you like this, right, that if he wants to stop and go to the bathroom, he can do that. So he has the option here, right? Either he can finish if he wants to, or the other option is to stop and to use the bathroom and then continue. One or the other. What are we talking about? Kriyat Shema. But when it comes to tefillah, right, it's not really proper to stop in the middle and go to the bathroom. So therefore, right, they should just finish in a case like that.
So in Kriyat Shema, would that be in between the first and the second blessing, or the second and the third blessing? Excuse me, the first or the second paragraph, or between the second and the third paragraph? Can you make a pause there?
For what? For the bathroom?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you can. Yeah, of course. Yeah, you can make a pause. I mean, anywhere really.
Even though in between the blessings, not the last blessing that communicates, continues with the Amidah, but the before blessings.
Are you asking about the blessings or the paragraphs?
No, I'm asking. Okay, so I understood that he can go to the bathroom in between the paragraphs, right, of the Kriyat Shema.
Anywhere you can use the bathroom, anywhere, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
So that's the Big Yosef. Okay, so let's see Shulchan Aruch here. So says Shulchan Aruch, right? If a person needs to use the bathroom, he shouldn't pray. And then if he did pray, his prayer is an abomination. And then he has to go and pray again. When does that apply? When he can't hold himself for 72 minutes. But if he's able to hold 72 minutes, b'diavad, yatsa b'diavad, so then he fulfills obligation, b'diavad. אבל לכתחילה, לא יתפלל עד שיבדוק עצמו תחילה יפה. But לכתחילה, he shouldn't pray until he checks himself. Says the Rama, right? We already said this yesterday. You also have to be careful about when you're learning Torah. Same thing, right? You should use the bathroom and then continue to study. By the way, Maran, the rabbi, my rabbi, he has a tshuva about this regarding the issue of, if a rabbi is giving a lecture, right? So in the middle of the lecture, all of a sudden he needs to use the bathroom. So what should he do? Stop the lecture, right? Then go and make everybody wait, whatever? Or, right, should he just finish the lecture and then go? So the rabbi there says a bit of a chidush, right? And what he says is that since it's a public lecture, for the people, for the community, communal lecture, right? Like what we're doing now, right? That's what we're talking about. So can you imagine now if I would stop and say, okay, excuse me, I have to use the bathroom, and go, and then come back in 10 minutes, whatever, right? 5 minutes. It's not really so proper to do that because everybody's waiting, and it's Bitul Torah for the community. So therefore, the rabbi says, in a case like that, where it's a communal issue, right? The rabbi can finish a lecture and then go afterwards, That's only if you can hold it. If you can hold it, right? If you can't hold it, he can't hold it. What can you do, right? What do you want to do, right? Pee in his pants and give a lecture? Right? Excuse my candor, right? Can't do that, right? So, obviously, he can't hold it, he can't hold it. But if he can, right, then he's not, he's not distracted by that. So yeah, I should try, whatever. That's what the rabbi says. Interesting point, that he gives over there. So the reason why he says that is because it's a public lecture. But if it's something you're just learning by yourself, or let's say you have a chavruta, you know what I mean? Okay, so the chavruta can wait, also you can wait. I mean, what's the big deal? First go use the bathroom and then continue to study. That's what we're saying over here. Okay, very good. Let's go to Shulchan Aruch Bet. So it says there, "Ve'im be'emtza tfilato mitor'eh lo tava." What about if in the middle of the prayers, all of a sudden now he gets the urge to use the bathroom? Ya'amid atzmo ad she'yigmor ve'lo yafsik. So here it says Shulchan Aruch, he should wait until he finishes, and then use the bathroom. Because this happened in the middle, So he's not really allowed to now use a bathroom and then continue afterwards. Like we said about Kriyat Shema, you know what I mean? You can't do that. So therefore, you should finish first. So as we said, right? If this happened in time of Kriyat Shema, right? Whether it's this kind of bathroom or that kind of bathroom, right? Whatever he has to do there, so what he does is he can finish it also. Why is that? Because since it happened in the middle, we don't obligate him here to stop, and go use the bathroom. So says the Rama, ודווקא שאינו מתערבה כל כך דהיתבה משום בל תשקצו. So the Rama says, but that's only, as we said, right? That he's not so desperate to go, he can't hold it in. אבל בלאו הכי יותר טוב להפסיק. But he says, if not so, better to stop, and go, use the bathroom. And so he's talking over here about Kriyat Shema. Okay. So he brings here two opinions, right? as we saw in the Beit Yosef, that the Rashba says it's allowed, and the Shumat Adeshin says that it's not allowed. What does that mean? Not allowed to stop. Okay, so basically, right, as we said, when it happens in the middle of the prayer or in the middle of the Kriyat Shema, you just finish it off, and then you use the bathroom. Basically, that's the bottom line. As we said, right, if he wants to use the bathroom in the middle of Kriyat Shema, it's okay, he could do that, right? No big deal. And then once he finishes the Kriyat Shema, he'll do Asher Yatzar, right, afterwards, because, he can't do it in the middle of the Kriyat Shema, obviously. Asher Yatzar. So we can wait till he finishes. Then he goes on, Shulchan Aruch, Ve'im Ratzah le'archik u'lat'il mayim. So it says, as we said, right, if he wants to go and use the bathroom when he's doing Kriyat Shema, or say he can do that, as we said, that's also, he has also that option as well. Yeah. So what would be the exception to that, right? The exception would be if he can hold it in, So then, no matter what, whether it's Kriyat Shema or whether it's Amidah, he should go and use the bathroom first, and then come out and continue. Because if he can't hold it, what is he going to do? He's going to have an accident. You know what I mean? God forbid, he's going to get into trouble there. Any questions about this, guys? Before we go on, okay. By the way, there's also discussion about these things when it comes to minyan. The question is like this, right? Let's say a person, when the minyan is starting, so he wants to start together with them. Problem is, he needs to use a bathroom. So what's more important, to start with the minyan or to use a bathroom, even though you're going to miss the minyan? What's more important?
I think bathroom, because you cannot be thinking about something else while you're praying with the rest. It's not going to be valid. Even though you're making the minyan, you're not being there in a way, because you're
you're right. That's the rule. Really, the truth is that the rule is like that better to miss the minyan and use the bathroom. And the reason is because minyan is only like the best way to do the mitzvah. It's not really, it doesn't preclude the mitzvah altogether. So therefore, using the bathroom is more important than going to the minyan to pray with the minyan. So if it's one against the other, you should use the bathroom first. Even if you, by the way, that applies even if you can hold it. Even if you can hold it, you should use the bathroom first and then go to the minyan, go pray. Even though he's going to miss the minyan somewhat, whatever, some partially, fully, whatever it is. But that only applies to the men, obviously, because the women, anyway, they're not obligated to play with the minyan anyway. So they're not really, that's not really a part of their prerogative. So obviously, doesn't apply to them. Okay, good. So let's go back to Beit Yosef. So it says, we always saw in the tour, right, that a person has to remove, before he starts to pray, to remove all kinds of mucus and phlegm, right, and that he has in his sinuses and his throat, all kinds of stuff, right? Make sure your body's in good shape there. So it says, that's what it says in the Rambam. Oh, so now, right, we come to another issue, which is, passing wind, right? So what about that? So Since we already explained about that beforehand, right? Din Misha Barilo, Sheno Yachol Lamod Milipiach, Hachik Mo Kiat Shema Utfilah, Nidbe'er Besiman Pei, right? It was already explained in chapter 80. So what did we say over there? That a person better not to pray like that, right? If he can't hold his gases, in his body, better not to pray, better to wait. Until his stomach is feeling better, right? And then he should pray, because you're not allowed to pass wind when you're saying Amidah. And they say, by the way, that if you do, it's a bad sign for you, So you should be careful, right, not to do that. So the Gemara, talks about that, and gives us like some rules about that. Talmud. So what about I think we're going to talk about this later. So, but anyway, I'll just mention it now, that the rule is like this: if a person is able to hold his gas, right, and not pass wind, so then he shouldn't do it when he's doing Amidah. But let's say he can't do it for some reason, right? He can't hold it. And in the middle, he can't hold it in. So then there is a remedy like this. What happens is that he steps back from his Amidah, steps back, like, he finished the prayer, and he passes the wind, and then he comes back up to his place and continues. There is a rule like that. We're going to see that later on, B'ezrat Hashem. But if he can hold it, he should hold it. That's the thing. If he can hold it, he shouldn't do that when he's doing Amidah, because they say it's a bad sign. Passing wind during the Amidah. What's a good sign, by the way? When you sneeze, right? If you sneeze during the Amidah, it's a good sign. But passing wind is a bad sign. Just the opposite. So if you want to sneeze during the Amidah, be my guest, right? No problem. But the other thing is no good. Okay. So let's see Shulchan Aruch here. So says Shulchan Aruch very short. Tzarich kodem tfilat la'asir kecho b'ne'o. Before the prayers, he has to remove, right, his phlegm and the mucus, the whole davar tordo, right, anything which is bothering him there, right, to make sure his nostrils are clean and sinuses and, right, and his throat, whatever it may be there. Whatever bothers you. Okay. Good. So we'll go to Daled. It says over here, לאחר שבדק עצמו יפה ויחוץ ידיו במים, אם יש לו, ואם אין לו צריך לחזור לחרם. Right? So, as we said right in the Torah, that once a person now cleans out his body, as we said, as we mentioned, so then the next step is he should wash his hands. As we said, right, before the Amidah, before the prayers, you got to wash your hands. Whether it's Shachrit or Mincha or Arvit, whether, either one of those. As we said yesterday, you don't really need a cup. Just go, open the sink and wash your hands, and that's good. Okay. So,
are any of these halachot applicable to Torah study, or just
sorry, what was that again?
Are any of these halachot applicable to Torah study, or just tefillah?
Yeah, we said regarding the using the bathroom.
Okay.
You should use the bathroom first and then learn.
Right, we said that yesterday, right?
Yeah, we said that today also.
Okay.
So yeah, but you don't really have to wash your hands before you learn Torah. The rabbis didn't decree that. They only decreed when it comes to prayers.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So what I mean to say is that, if it's not like you woke up in the morning, out of bed, just, let's say in the afternoon, whatever, and you want to learn Torah, there's no reason to go wash your hands for that. No such a thing like that. But for prayers, they did require to wash hands, right? Because of the pasuk, as we said, right? Okay, so you don't need a cup, as we said. Very nice. Because it's not a matter of ruach ra, right? There's no ruach ra here. It's just for cleanliness, for being clean, to meet your maker in cleanliness. Okay, so nowadays, right, everywhere we have sinks, and this and that. So we have running water everywhere. But in those days, right, they didn't have sinks, they didn't have running water everywhere. So sometimes, you happen to be in a place where there's no running water. There's no water there. So what do you do in a case like that if you want to pray? So he says, right, that he has to go look for it. And you should go around, and see if you can find something. Scrounge around. I try your neighbor, maybe, I don't know, whatever, right? Or whatever it is, right? Your roommate, God knows, whatever. Maybe they have something for you. Okay, so but the Torah says that's only when he has time, for prayers. In other words, the time of the prayer won't run out. Right? If he waits, if he goes and looking around. But if he doesn't have time, in other words, if he doesn't pray now, the time will run out. Right? So then what he should do is take something abrasive, like a rock or some dirt, and clean it with that. Or something which cleans, right? I don't know, use your use a towel, use your t-shirt, God knows, whatever it is, right? Something which can, clean your hands a little bit. That's what he means to say. Ella, שנתקלקלה בטיט, right? That only applies where he didn't divert his attention. Ella, שנתלכלכו בטיט. Rather, what happened was that his hands got dirty with mud or whatever. Some say the opposite. צריך שלא יהיו מלוכלכים ועל הסחת דעת and לחוש. So he says we don't want them to be dirty, and we're not concerned about diverting your own attention to it. She'en הסחת דעת אלא באכילה, because that's only regarding eating, diverting your attention. ואדוני אבי הראש, but the Rosh, היה אומר, he used to say, she'en לחלק, right? There's don't make differentiation. לא שנה לכלוך, לא שנה בהיסח דעת. Whether it was because of dirtiness or because you diverted your attention from your hands. In any case, he should clean his hands, right? Whatever it may be. Whatever he can use if he doesn't have water. It says in Megillah there, Masechet Megillah. Perek Bnei Ayil, in this perek, Mashtin lo yitpalel ad sheishek kedei hiluch dal adamot. Okay, that's already something else. We'll get back to the chur. We'll get back to Bet Yosef. So
if things are just for cleanliness, hand sanitizer works.
I'm sorry, what was that again?
If we said we're washing not because of ruach ra'ah, we're washing because of cleanliness, then hand sanitizer works, correct?
What doesn't work?
Hand sanitizer.
Oh, hand sanitizer. So what's your question regarding that?
You said
If that does the job?
yeah, like for
Oh.
tefillah.
So you don't have any water, you're saying?
Yeah, no water.
No water, and all you have is hand sanitizer?
Yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting. Well, the truth is, in the days of the Chazal, they didn't have this substance,
Right.
So it's for germs. It's not for cleanliness, right?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
That isn't okay.
So therefore, I don't think that, the rabbis, when they made these decrees, they never talked about germs. So therefore, it would seem to me that it's not relevant to the hand sanitizer, halacha. Not really relevant. Maybe good for COVID, but it's not good for halacha.
It has to be water for doing all these blessings. We have to use water for washing.
Yeah, well, the preferred thing is water. Yes, preferred is water, but we're talking about when you don't have, right? That's the thing. So when you don't have water, as we said, right, just take a towel, or something, and just rub your hands on it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not because of germs. Okay. Okay, very good. So do they still have that stuff anywhere today? I don't see anybody using it anymore.
I see it in some shuls. They have.
So, yeah, they probably have leftovers from the COVID days. They need to get rid of it. They got nothing to do with it. So they put it out, so people can use it and get rid of it. Okay, whatever. So it says in Bit Yosef regarding this. Right? It's where it is in Brachot Tetvav Amud Aleph. Amar le Ravina le Rabba. Right? This rabbi says to this rabbi, Chazemor hai tzuva mirabanan de ata mimarava. So he says, look at this young rabbi that came from Israel. The Amar Misha eno mayim lilchotz yadav. And he said like this, right? If you don't have water to wash your hands, mekaneach yadav be'afar etzro. So then use right dirt or a pebble, right, or right the kismit, or some kind of a kismit is like wood chips. I don't know, God knows. Amar le shapir kamar. So he says, okay, that's good, right? I like that. He said, well, mikativ erchas b'mayim. So it says, doesn't say in the pasuk, I'm going to wash my hands with water. It doesn't say water, right? But nikayon ketiv, it says nikayon. What does that mean? Cleansing, right? The most important thing is to cleanse. Okay. Call midid menakeh, right? Anything which cleanses you. So this rabbi used to curse, right? Somebody would go looking for water before prayers. He didn't have water. Why is that? Because the time would run out. He was afraid, right? They're going to skip the time. He says that's only for Kiyat Shema. But when it comes to Amidah, Mehader, he should go looking for it, right? As we said. How much does he have to go looking for it, right? How much time does he have to take for that? Ad parsa. So according to first opinion, 72 minutes, right? That's in front of him, right? He's going on the road. In front of him. But behind him, right? If he's traveling on the road, afilu mil eno chozer. He doesn't have to do even a meal, right? Even 18 minutes. So you see from there, that he has to do less than 18 minutes, right? Kachi Girsat Gimarot Didan. That's how the word says in the Gimarot. He Girsat Arif, and also the Rif. Chen Katav Rashba. That's what's also the Rashba. B'Shem Rabbeinu Hai. Right? V'chen Pasak Rambam, also the Rambam. Milchot Tfilah. Ela Shenir'eh Shaya Gores Min Lacharav. But it says that the Rambam seems to say in the text like this: behind you, Yoter Mimil, more than 18 minutes. Eno Choser. He doesn't go more than 18 minutes. Ha Mil Choser, but he should do 18 minutes. Rashi explains, Tama, what's the reason why? The Shanilan ben Kriyat Shema Tfilah. Why do we differentiate between Kriyat Shema and Tfilah? Mishum the Kriyat Shema is Mana Kavua. Because Kriyat Shema, right, has a fixed time. If you don't say it at the right time, right, you missed the mitzvah. Shema Yavor Azman, maybe the time will pass. About Tfilah, but when it comes to prayers, you can pray all day, right? Whatever, more or less, right? Loosely. Shachrit, Mincha, Arvit, you got all day to pray. Right? Then you have to go after looking for water. Rashba asks about this. He asks a question about this. Who the B'Kriyat Shema Shehi Deoraita. He says Kriyat Shema, which is from the Torah, they weren't so machmir. Alav. They weren't so stringent about it. To go looking for water. Just like they were stringent regarding somebody who has seminal motion. Why? Because the words of Torah don't accept Tumah. When it comes to prayers, they were stringent about until 72 minutes. About Tosfot, but when it comes to Tosfot, they don't have this text in the Gemara that only applies to Kriyat Shema. About Tfilah Me'ader, but when it comes to prayers, he has to go looking for it. The Ben Kriyat Shema Ben Tfilah, so he holds that whether it's Kriyat Shema or Tfilah, Kal Light Rav Chazda. This rabbi used to curse Amad Mehadar Amayat, the one who goes looking for water. Then Ma'ishna Kriyat Shema Mitfilah. Then what's the difference between one and the other? The Kriyat Shema Deoraita. That even though Kriyat Shema is from the Torah, Utfilah the Rabbanan, and the prayers is from the rabbis. Asu Chachamim Chizuk L'Divrehem. Right, the rabbis strengthened their words. Keshel Torah, just like the Torah. And they brought a source from this place. Bitlua and Tiluta. It says, right, that they nullified the washing the water. Like this rabbi, the light Amanda Behadar Amaya, that cursed anybody who goes looking for water. Beidan Tzrota, in the time of prayers. Udelo is Kir Sham Kriyat Shema, and he didn't mention their Kriyat Shema. Mashma the Bechor Inyan Kamar, so it implies that he's talking about any case. Now what you said over there in Pesachim, Membamud Aleph, Legabel Belitfilah, Da'ad Milin, right? So it says, right, when it comes to prayers for meal, right, which is 72 minutes, Hanamile, that applies to Lefanav, in front of you. Kvar Pereshua Rashi explains that Itpalel B'asara Kamar. He's talking about praying with a minyan. Bechem Dat Mordechai, also this rabbi, Rabbeinu Yonah, also this rabbi, Rosh. Shen Chiluk Ben Kriyat Shema and Tfilah, because there's no difference between Kriyat Shema and Tfilah. Binyan, when it comes to the issue of this issue, Inyan Zed. Rabbeinu Me'achar She'eno Gores Kegirsat Arif. So he says, Rabbeinu, the Tur, since he doesn't have the text of the Rif, Shareh Lo Chilek Ben Lefanav Ben Lefanav, because he doesn't differentiate between in front or in back, Kegirsat Arif like the Rif. Shareh Lo Chilek Ben Yamsar. V'gam Debehad Yamar Resh Lakish. And also that which it's said Resh Lakish, the Perek El over there, in Membam Amud Aleph, the Gabel V'litfilah Da'ad Minin. When it comes to Tfilah, right, 4 miles, right, which is not our miles, by the way. It's their miles, which are much smaller, more like a kilometer. So it's like 72 minutes. וכולי. וכתב בסימן צדיק, he writes in chapter 90, שפירוש Rashi means to say, right, I'm sorry, פירוש Rashi עיקר, that we go like Rashi's explanation. כדברי התוספות, לא היה לו לכתוב. So he should have written like תוספות, the opinion of תוספות, שצריך לחזור אחריהם, that he has to go after them, דהה רב חסדא light aman דמהדר amaya. Because this rabbi used to curse somebody who goes looking for water. So that means that the person shouldn't go looking for them at all. So he says, this rabbi was wondering about this. Regarding the two words of the Torah. So he says, according to my humble opinion, it seems like the Torah explains that which Rav Chazda cursed somebody who goes looking for water, Beidan Slota, in the time of prayers, he's not talking about the beginning of the time. Like this rabbi explained. Because once the time has come, you shouldn't go looking for water. Whether it's tefillah or kriyat shema. The end is svara. It says that's not logical. Since it's a mitzvah to wash your hands with water, in order they should pray. So you have to go right after that, like you're going like any other mitzvah. Even though they said, right, that doesn't really say you have to use water, dafka, precisely, right? That means it doesn't prevent the mitzvah. But he says, whenever it is possible, by mind to get water, right? It's a mitzvah to look after it, to look for it. That's only if he has more time to pray, right? There's still plenty of time. But if he's concerned that if he goes looking for water, right? Maybe the time for tefillah will pass already, and it'll be too late. Then he shouldn't go looking for it. So what should he do? Right? Clean your hands with something which cleanses, right? As we said. The light Rav Chazda. So he said it was regarding that Rav Chazda, this rabbi was cursing Aman de Mehadar Amaya. There's somebody who looks for water. The Beidan Tzlota Kamar. He's talking about the time of prayers. That means the end of the prayers. What does that mean? There isn't much time left. So if he starts looking now, he's going to lose the time altogether. Okay. It's also, it seems, Mimash Katab Basiman Ishtam and Gimel. That's what she writes over there in chapter 233. That's the language over there, he says. Katab Rab Amram Kishavol Itpalel, says this rabbi, that when a person comes to pray, he told Yadav, he should wash his hands. And no mind, if he doesn't have water, Litlam im Yodea Shehu Lefanav Ad Milin, Tal Milin. So it says, if he doesn't have water, what should he do? If he can find something in front of him, 72 minutes, and he's going on the road, he should wait till there he gets to a place of water. Even if the time for prayers will pass. Wow. But it says if it's more than 72 minutes, it's palel miyad, you should pray right away. He shouldn't pass the time of tefillah. That's only talking about in front of you. But if it's behind him, then it's only less than 1 mil, which is less than 18 minutes. But 18 minutes he doesn't need to go. But Tosfot said he shouldn't pass the time of prayers in order to wash the hands. It's not that important. So therefore, if his hands are not clean, clean them with dirt, right, or bitzor, or with a pebble. Also behind you, he doesn't have to return there at all in order to wash his hands. Even though he has time. That's the end of it. And since it says in the name of Tosot, they shouldn't pass the time of the prayers in order to wash their hands. But mine, so it implies that if he doesn't pass the time of the prayers, then he should look for the water. Just like we look for other things in mitzvot. Says, what's the halacha? Bottom line, right? We saw a lot of opinions here. Right? Since all these three rabbis agree, B'Shem Rabbeinu Hai, right, name of this rabbi, Maskimim lechalek ben Kriyat Shema Tefillah, right? That they differentiate between Kriyat Shema Tefillah, that's how we paskin, right? So what does that mean? That means that for Kriyat Shema, as we said, we don't wait. Right? If you don't have water, why? Because we're afraid the time will pass. The Kriyat Shema. In our area, right, this morning, what was the last time for Kriyat Shema? In my calendar, it says 9:17, right? Whatever, something like that. 9:17, 9:18, whatever it was. So once that time passes, right, you can't do Kriyat Shema anymore. You're done. Okay, let's go on. But when it comes to prayers, you should go looking for it. But here's the thing, right? What about if you're not on the road? So then how much time should you spend looking for water? We said, right, if you're on the road, depends on if you're going in front of you or back of you. You're turning. Why do they obligate you to go more in front than in the back? Because you already were there, right? You passed by there. So going back there is very annoying, right? It's very cumbersome to go back again. You're losing your, trend on the way. You're losing your momentum there. But right, if you're going in front of you, you have to go there anyway. So what's the problem, right? Wait till you get there, and then you'll pray when you get there, right? Since it's in front of you, you have to be there anyway. What difference does it make? That's the idea. That's when you're traveling on the road. But what about when you're not traveling on the road? Then what do we do? Right? So the truth is that when you're not traveling on the road, it's considered like you're going behind you. Why? Because it's annoying, right? You don't need to be there. You don't need to go there. You're going there only for water. So therefore, we go according to the of the size of behind you, not in front of you. How much is that? Up to 18 minutes, right? Less than 18 minutes. If it takes more than 18 minutes, you don't have to go. Baruch Hashem, today we don't have these problems. We have, everywhere we have running water, so we don't really need to go, looking for water. Thank God. Even on the airplane, Baruch Hashem, we have water there. So, what's the problem, right? No big deal. So, by the way, just to make you understand a little bit better, same thing also applies when it comes to going to Minyan, right? That if a person has to go to Minyan, depending on, let's say the Minyan is very far, right? Like takes him like an hour to get there. Is he obligated to go to Minyan like that? So the rule is, if you remember, we learned this already a while ago, the laws of Minyan, we were back there, that the rule is also 18 minutes, right? If it's going to take 18 minutes or more, you don't have to go to the Minyan. But if it's going to take less than 18 minutes, right, then you should go. You're obligated to go. If you can, obviously, right? You can. So the 18-minute rule also applies to Minyan as well. That's the way it is, Like for me, the guys who are in the class, they know. In my neighborhood, right? From my house, let's say, if I walk to Continental, right? 71st, the shul over there, Is it 18 minutes or more or less? You guys are listening to my question. So
15
definitely,
minute walk, maybe.
so going from my house to Continental is definitely more than 18 minutes by foot.
Mhm.
Right? It's like a half hour. So therefore, I'm not obligated to go there. When I was a kid, by the way, I used to go there. You know, I wasn't maybe obligated, but I used to walk there all the time. You know, in the good old days when I was a kiddie. But that's something else. But what about, let's say, Bet Gavriel? Like I live on 98, 98th Street, but 98th Place. Bet Gavriel is like 18 minutes, so I'm not really obligated to go there either. Just telling you, technically speaking. Not really obligated to go there. So if it's less than 18 minutes, you're obligated to go. If it's more, you're not obligated. Same thing with Minyan. If you have a car, then it goes by, how fast you drive. You know what I mean? Because you're not walking, right? So if you have a car, you can drive there. So you can even go to Main Street, right? Main Street takes like 10 minutes, right? So you should go if you have a car. Right? But what about going to Williamsburg, right? Brooklyn, which is pretty close. If you drive really fast, you can get there like in 20 minutes, but I doubt you're gonna do less than 18 minutes, unless you go when there's no traffic. You can just fly right through there, right? On a BQE. So depends on the situation. Okay, so you get the idea, right? The same thing applies to Minyan as well. Okay, good. So let's go on a bit, Yosef. Din ma'im shenam roim l'tinat yadayim. Right? So it says, if you want to look at the laws of water, which is not fitting, right, for washing your hands, look at Siman Dalet, right over there. We already wrote this in chapter 4. The issue of what kind of water you need to use. Okay, very good. Then he goes on. The Katav Avi Ezri, right? It says in Avi Ezri, that which we said, right? Something which cleans you. That means only when you didn't get distracted. The Chen Katav says Bit Yosef. That's what says the Mordechai Bishmo in his name. Perek Haya Koreh, right? In this perek. The Chen Katav Gamken Agaot Maimoniot. It's also there. It says Bishmo in his name. The perek Dalet Milchot Tefillah, right over there. The fourth perek of Tefillah. Yesh Omrim Adarab Tzarich Shelo Yiu Meluchlachim. Some say they shouldn't be dirty. And we're not really concerned about getting distracted. So let me just explain to you, right? What does it mean to get distracted? It means that you're not watching your hands, they shouldn't touch something dirty. So if you lost concentration on that and you weren't be careful, that's what we're saying, right? That means you got distracted. Because if you're really being careful about it, like you'll make sure that you don't touch anything, which is a problem. Anyway, it says, right, it seems like this is the opinion of the Ran. He says, he writes over there, that which we said, if he washed his hands for the first dipping, it's talking probably about the Haggadah, right, when we eat the karpas. He still has to wash his hands for the bread, right? Doesn't matter. If you wash for the karpas, you still have to wash also for the bread, for the matzah. That's what he's saying over here. So he says, you know why that is? Because once your hands, right, you divert your attention from them, you have to do it again. But from the words of Rabbeinu, the Torah, b'siman Rishtam Gimel, nireh shesover the yadayim shelesech hadat tzrichim netilat. He holds the Torah that if you distracted yourself, you need to wash again. It's tefillah for prayers. Even though you don't really know for sure, you touch something, something dirty. The Rambam also says in the laws of the prayers, says one thing that prevents the prayers, you know what that is? That's the cleanliness of the hands. And afterwards he writes, how is that cleanliness of the hands? He has to wash his hands, right, with water on the perik, right, until the knuckles or the wrists, depending on different opinions about that. Then he should pray. What was that said? That he's not cleansing himself for the prayers. Only his hands. For other prayers. Except besides shachrit. When it comes to shachrit, you're waking up anyway, right, in the morning. So you got to wash your hands in the morning. So there he should do also his hands and the feet and also the face. We don't really pass like that. We don't pass like that. It seems from his words, all the prayers he has to wash his hands, even though he doesn't have any dirt there, right? He doesn't really know that they're dirty. Just like he has to wash his hands when he eats bread. Look over there, it says in the Rambam, whoever washes hands, whether it was for eating or for Kriyat Shema, whether it's for prayers, he should bless Netilat Yadayim, he says, right? We don't pass like that also. The Kevan the Rambam, it says, since the Rambam, Rabbeinu Aviyah, like all these rabbis, Maskimim, that they all agree, that if you distracted your hands, your mind from the hands, you weren't guarding them, right? That you do have to wash your hands for prayers, even though you never saw they got dirty. That's how we paskin, it says. But when it comes to making a blessing for that, I never saw anybody says who makes blessing for praying for prayers. The shum tefillah for any prayers. Shachrit, only in the morning, right? Because you're getting up from the sleep. Levad. The Tama the mistaberu, so it makes sense. Why? Since there is one who says, because since there is one who says you don't really need to wash your hands for prayers, so therefore we can't bless because it's a doubt, right? When there's a doubt about blessings, we don't bless. So here also it's a doubt. This is the reason why we don't bless for prayers. The Amash Katav Rambam, regarding what the Rambam says, that you for shachrit you have to do also your feet and your face. Katav Rabba lo yadati raglav lama. So it says, I don't know why you have to do that to wash your feet. Katav Baal Migdal Oz, says this rabbi. Katav Ken Midetanya. See, he wrote this since it says in Braita, the Sopek Tumnin in this Gemara Shabbat Luna Mubed. The person should wash his hands, feet, and face the whole yom every day. Right? Because he needs to be clean. Mishum Shenemar. It says in the pasuk, "Kol Pa'al Adonai L'Manehu." Right? Hashem created everything for His own sake. It says, but the custom is not like that, right? So what does that mean? We don't wash our feet and our face before we pray. We don't have to. If you want, you could, no problem, but not obligated. So he says the custom is not like that because the Braita Ika Nifrushe, because the Braita we can explain the lav l'inyan tefillah itinyan, because it's not talking about prayers here. This Braita, the Pirish Rashi Tam, like Rashi explains there. So therefore, right? Okay, so we'll just do the Shulchan Aruch and we're done. Okay, so it says in the Shulchan Aruch. So it says, right, you do have to wash your hands, right, before you pray, as we said. If he has. If he doesn't have, right? צריך לחזור אחריהם עד פרסה. We did this one already, didn't we? 1 second. Yeah. Did we do Dalet? 1 second. Yeah, we're doing both Dalet and Hay. Okay, I'm sorry. It's together. So as we said, right, that even if you're going being back of you have to go parsa 72 minutes. That's only when you're traveling on the road. And the water is in front of you, right, where you're going. But yes, if he has to go back on the road, to place of water, ad mil, only until 18 minutes, right? Less than that. Choser, it goes back. You'll tell me meal, but more than a meal, more than 18 minutes, he doesn't go back. And no choser. If he's afraid, right, that the time of prayers will pass by, so then what should you do? As we said, right, use something abrasive, like a rock, a pebble, or dirt, or anything which cleans your hands, right? As we said, use a towel, whatever it is. Okay, very nice. So, regarding what you said about the sanitizer, by the way, I'm not really sure. Honestly, to tell you the honest, God's honest truth. Since, the COVID thing, which started like 2 or 3 years ago, whatever it was, I haven't used sanitizer one time in my hands. Never used it, never touched it. So why do I tell you that? I'm not trying to brag, but the thing is that I don't really know what it does to your hands. I think it's like basically like alcohol in a gel form. That's pretty much what it is. So if it does clean your hands, then I don't really know if it does clean your hands. I don't, because I never used it. But if it just takes off the germs, then we don't really care about that. So I don't know if there's a cleansing action there with the sanitizer. I'm not really sure about that. Maybe you guys can teach me. I don't know. So
what do you mean by cleansing?
Does it like clean the dirt off your hands or whatever? I don't know.
I mean, as much as water or anything would clean the dirt off. I mean,
so you're saying it's like water, basically?
well, yeah. I mean, it's a semi-liquid kind of thing where you're
Right.
getting your hands wet and you're scrubbing them together and.
Right. So if it does clean your hands, then yeah, you can use it. That's what the halakha is saying. Anything that cleans your hands, right? Whether it's sanitizer or whatever.
So it doesn't have to be water.
No, the water is the preferred method, right? We're talking about when you have no water.
If there's no water, then sanitizer
Right.
should.
So if the sanitizer does clean your hands, then you should use it. Yeah.
Matter of fact, sanitizer probably cleans your hands better than it disinfects your hands. To be honest.
Okay, if that's true, then you because as I told you, I never used it, so I wouldn't know.
I guess the question would be how much water base is in the sanitizer to use it as.
It's not water based, it's alcohol based.
No, I know.
Alcohol, yeah. But the question is not that. I'm not talking about what it's based on. I'm just asking, does it clean the hands or not? That's the question.
Supposedly it does, but I guess.
If it does, then you should use it, yeah.
But only if you don't have water.
Of course, yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's go on a little bit. So we're almost finished. So yeah, we got one more here. So it says, Rachatz yadav shachrit. If he washed his hands in the morning, v'siach dato, and then he got distracted. He didn't guard his hands. So he does need to wash his hands again for the prayers, right? If he didn't guard his hands. And if he has water, so then you should use water. Even though you don't know that your hands are dirty. Right? And he shouldn't bless, as we said, right? because it's a doubt. Since it's a doubt, we don't bless. Right? If he doesn't have water, and he doesn't have to do it at all. In this case, right? Says the Ramah here, even if his hands were dirty, and he washes them for prayers, he doesn't have to bless, right? As we say, he doesn't bless. He's not allowed to bless. Right? It will be blessing in vain, possibly. It's a doubt. So the only question I have to ask you is one thing, right? Before we go, we said, right, that in the morning, right? So, right, this is the thing. I just want to make sure you got this point. It says Shulchan Aruch like this. This is the way paskins. In the morning, okay, if you don't have water to wash your hands before shachrit, so then we said, right, use something which is, is abrasive, cleans your hands, right, as we said. And then we said, but later on, right, for the other prayers, it seems like he doesn't have to wash his hands at all if he doesn't have any water. In other words, he doesn't have to use anything. Very interesting. Okay, you know what? Maybe we'll review this next time, B'ezrat Hashem. I would like to, get a better reading on this a little bit. Next time, B'ezrat Hashem. Okay, thanks for coming. Be blessed with wealth, health, happiness. Be holy and happy. See you tomorrow. Chazak u'baruch. God bless you all.
Thank you so much.
All the best.
Thank you.
Zakum Baruch.
Baruch tiyeh.
Rabbi, question.
Sure.
We said in the Bet Yosef, before every tefillah, we have to wash our hands, correct?
For every what?
Before every tefillah, we have to wash our hands.
Sure.
So but during in the shuls, the mincha and arvit together. So
Yes.
we wash before mincha. Do we have to go again and wash before arvit?
You're doing one, like two in a row,
Yeah, it's like together.
You don't need it. But if you're like going out, and taking a break, and stuff, then you need it because, you weren't guarding your hands.
Okay.
I mean, unless you guarded your hands.
So again, it has to do with the Hesech Hadat.
Right, exactly, yeah. We'll review it tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem. I want to make sure we got everything straight.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi.
Chazak u'baruch. Laila tov.
Laila Tov.